Hey, it's Mr. Scoppa here with an update for November 7th, 2014. And I gotta say, we are a winner. Last night I attended the PTSO meeting and we received a class award for being the highest selling class for the fundraiser in 4th grade. So great job by all those students, and thank you for helping support that. We got a pizza party out of it and a little bit of classroom supplies that will be coming in thanks to that, so that's awesome. One of our students actually even won a $100 Visa gift card last night, so that was pretty cool to see. Just a reminder, you know, the PTSO is a great organization that helps out everything that we do here at school with field trips and Red Ribbon Week and our Veterans Day celebration that's today for our morning meeting. And they just do a lot, so please support them. Go to the meetings, find out what's going on. Last night there was a lot of cool stuff that was talked about. Mr. Dolce gave a little bit of a update of some of the technology things that we're doing in the district, and talked about some different technologies that are going to be available to the kids as far as like Google Apps and things like that will be coming, but there'll be a lot more about that coming along as things start to roll out. But let's see. First of all, coming home today is going to be this letter right here, and this is a blank one, but it will be all filled out with the information for your student. And basically it just kind of gives you an update of how they did on all the different testing that we did at the beginning of the year through just recently. And it kind of gives you an idea of a benchmark. And those benchmark numbers are where students should be. And if your student is above it, that's great. If your student is below it, that means that we need to work to get them up to those benchmarks. If they're right at the benchmark, that means they're right where they need to be. And it's kind of a way that we look at things and kind of rank the kids to figure out, to see what we need to do to get them on the state standards and to meet those. And if you have any questions on those, feel free to contact me about it. That's not a problem at all. But to kind of talk about it a little bit, the map reading is like passage comprehension and things like that. The map math is a whole bunch of different math problems. And with the map test, what it does is it'll give you a problem, and if you get it right, it'll move it up a little bit, and then see if you get that right, and then if you continue to get it right, it keeps on moving it up until you start to struggle, and then it moves it down a little bit to find the nice point where the kids are. So it's a test that's a little bit different for every student. I can't even say what the questions are because, you know, it changes as things go along. For Ames Web reading, that's our fluency, and that's how well your student reads out loud very fluently to make sure that things are rolling nice. And studies show that students with higher fluency tend to achieve better, so that's one of the things that we do track. For math computation, that's just your straight out math facts, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction, just to see how many problems they got right during an 8-minute probe. And then for the concepts and applications, it is a test that goes through and puts it into a word problem context to see how they do. So you can see if your student does better with word problems or with straight out computation. And then just for the current Lexile for reading level, the Lexile is one way of scoring it, and it kind of gives a range, and it's supposed to give a range to see for books. Sometimes in the book order you'll see Lexile numbers, and also I gave a grade level equivalent. We got that from the STAR test. It's a test that's put out from the same people that do the AR test, and that kind of gives a range of where your student is comfortable for independent reading for a grade level. So when they go to the library, they can find AR books that are within that range to help them feel comfortable and confident with their reading on an independent level. So that will be coming home. Speaking about AR tests, that is one thing that we do track, and our goal for the year is 25 books per kid at a 80% or higher on the test. And we have one student that's already passed it in the class, and so that's awesome. We've got a couple students that are close, and we've got some students that need to work a little bit more on them. So for 25 for the year, our goal is to have all the kids have it done by the end of April, so we can go on a special incentive trip that will be coming up in May for any student that has reached 25. So obviously my goal is to have all students at the 25 books or higher level. And so speaking of AR, I figured that I would just remind you that when you go on to the intermediate school website, over here on the left there's a spot that says especially for students, and if they click on that, it'll pull up a couple different things here that will help them out. The first one is Accelerated Reader, and so they can take the Accelerated Reader test right here at home. Carrot Sticks is a great math site for just practicing math through some different games. Keyboarding practice, they can log in through that with PMI dot their first initial and last name, and that will get them in there so they can practice their keyboarding skills. And then there's other resources down here. And also, something that is new that came home this week in a flyer is the math problem of the week, and that's something that's going to be updated every week, and the kids can do that problem at home or here at school if they've got time to log on and do it. They do the problem, they turn it in, and then there'll be some winners every week for that for the different grade levels. So that's a great way to work on some math skills that we need to practice and maybe kind of press them to achieve a little bit higher and level up on math. So those are some things that are out there. For ELA, we're still working with our Iroquois connection. We're looking at how the history of the Iroquois connects to the current time for the Iroquois, and we're reading a book about that right now. The book is by a semi-local author. His name is Joseph Bruchak. He's an awesome guy, and this is about a Mohawk boy who has moved to Brooklyn, and the interesting changes in his life going from living on a reservation to living in a regular city and all the things about that. So they're learning some history in that, and they're also learning some great themes in there about how to deal with bullying and things like that. So that's a really cool book that we're reading. In science, we're still working with our animals, and we're finding out about all the different classifications of animals and animal adaptations. We'll be moving into the life cycle and the food webs a little bit, so that way they have some of those life sciences background. In math, we've kind of taken a little bit of a break from a major focus of multiplication and division. We're now in our measurement time, and we're measuring all sorts of stuff. And this week, you know, there was that homework that came home that they were supposed to talk with you about a couple different situations in which you measure, whether it's estimating or whether it's exact, and what you use to measure and things like that, just so they can see some of the real-world connections there. That's a really important part of our math program, is finding out how it connects to them here in everyday life, because, you know, it may not seem like it all the time, but the math that we're doing really does have a lot of connections to life. A reminder, you got a school messenger this week that unfortunately I won't be seeing your kids on Monday. They're going to be home. And during that day we'll be doing some professional development, so they have the day off, but we still have to come and learn stuff as teachers, and so there's nothing wrong with that. And then Tuesday is our observation of Veterans Day, so it is a long weekend. It's a 4-day weekend, and it's a little bit different than how those 4-day weekends normally work, because it's Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So it's going to be a nice long weekend for that, so hopefully you have some plans set up, and your kids will still have their reading logs to do over the weekend, and they'll be getting some extra ones to cover the Monday, Tuesday time as well. So they will have 2 reading logs this weekend. With that, I hope you have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week.